students, welcome to Farm to School Online. Unfortunately, we can't be with you in person, but we want to still bring all the same benefits of teaching you in person to you while you are at home. So we're still going to go through our lessons, and we hope that you guys find this just as valuable. The only difference is I want to have food for you to taste, but let's get started. Okay, so I am Allie. I'm the nutrition specialist with Farm to School if you have not seen me in your classes yet. I go ahead and work with all the schools in the district, helping teach students ways that they can improve their health, ways they can make better food choices, and ultimately be successful in all of their life, okay? But here is where we want to build those blocks so that you guys can take this beyond high school. Okay, so what we're going to do today is talk to you about a well-balanced meal. This is a little program I like to do called MyPlate or PowerPlate. You should have a paper in front of you that you should have already downloaded that will also walk us through the activities today, okay? So the first thing I want you to do is in the beginning there's a little warm-up we're gonna start with, and it's gonna ask you 3 questions. So the first question is going to be, how do you decide what to eat? Okay, so you're gonna take some time and answer that question. Fill it out there on your paper, okay? Your second question is going to be, do you like to cook? And who does the cooking in your home? It might be more than one person, and that's fine. Go ahead and write that down. You may like to cook, you may not like to cook. It's a judgment-free zone. I just like to get that conversation going and get you guys thinking about who's making the meals in my home. Am I helping out? Am I not helping out? Why am I not helping out? Okay, I want to get those juices flowing. And then your third question is going to be, how many servings of fruits and vegetables do you think you eat in a day? So part of the exercises with Farm to School is we like to teach you what a portion size is, but I like to get a gauge on where you're at prior to learning this information. Maybe you've taken health already, maybe you haven't, but everyone has in their mind what they think a portion size is, so I want to see what you think that is. So go ahead and write in there how many servings of fruits and how many servings of vegetables you think you eat every single day. We're going to go ahead and give you 5 minutes to complete this activity. that you have answered those first 3 questions, I want you to take your paper. You should have a circle, a large circle and a small circle here. And I want you to draw a picture of your last meal. Not write out the letters and the words, I want you to draw a picture. So if you had a rice bowl, you gotta get creative in drawing the rice and what else was on that rice bowl. The circle is to emulate a plate, okay, so you can utilize the whole circle. And then put your beverage in the top corner. So whatever it may be, if you need to label it, you can, but what we want you to use is a different part of your brain where you're drawing instead of just listing out things that you had to eat. We'll give you a couple minutes to go ahead and do that. Here we have a picture of MyPlate. Have you guys seen this before? Maybe you've seen it in your doctor's office, in the school cafeteria, maybe in your health class. So this is something that the government has come up with for us to use as an example of how our plate should look every day. So the goal with MyPlate is that you fill it 3 times a day, and if you do that with these types of portion sizes, and your plate divided like this, you should be able to get all the nutrients you need from the foods that you're eating. They thought this would be a much easier guide than having you measure out scoop by scoop how much fruits, veggies, grains, and protein you would need each day. Do you notice on this one that half of it is fruits and vegetables? I love that. Do you also notice that they have a whole section just for dairy? So how does your plate measure up to this? All right, so we just took a look at MyPlate, and that was introduced by the USDA in 2011. What I kind of want to challenge you with is a different type of plate. So that's what we have here. This is called the PowerPlate. This is brought to us by Life Lab, which is a farm to school learning type program up in Northern California. And they have adopted this from the Harvard School of Public Health. And what they have done is kind of rearrange the plate so that the foods are highlighted in different ways. So they've actually chosen to put our fruits here in the smallest portion of the plate, all right? They have our vegetables here, which is the biggest portion of the plate. They have our healthy proteins and our whole grains. So they specify whole grains versus just grains. And then they actually feature water instead of milk, which I really like because water is essential for us to even be alive, but also to thrive, where dairy is a little bit more particular on who can enjoy it and who cannot if you suffer from a lactose intolerance. So I like that they chose water. Something else that they've included on the PowerPlate that I really, really enjoy is that they have the healthy fats. Healthy fats are very, very important for brain development. They're very important for our joints to keep moving, and it helps with keeping us nice and full as well. So I really like this PowerPlate. It still has the same idea as MyPlate, and the whole goal is for you to use this as a guide when you are making a meal and when you are choosing what to eat that day, okay? So instead of you having to measure out 2 cups of vegetables, you can say, okay, I want a little more than a quarter of my plate to be veggies. I need to remember that. And I want a quarter of my plate to be protein, and we don't want half of our plate to be protein or half of our plate to be carbs or whole grains. Okay, so this is why they think this is easier for Americans to follow. And then it's also easier to switch for different age groups. So the kids are gonna have, like younger kids from you guys, are gonna have the same like requirements on a plate, but we're just switching to a smaller plate now. So I really, really like that. So we're gonna kind of go through these different sections of our plate and teach you guys the portion sizes you need to not only sustain yourself, but to thrive, okay? Yes, can we get by with eating less than our recommended daily suggestive amounts? Yes, we can. But eventually your body does not have enough of what it needs. So if you are lacking certain vitamins and minerals from not eating enough vegetables, your body is going to pull that from other things to be able to survive the best that it can. So it's going to do the best with what it has, but how to really have optimal nutrition is by getting all of these foods in our diet every single day at the right amounts that are recommended so that we can thrive. So we're going to go ahead and dive in here to we have our fruits. All right, so things like apples, oranges, pears, those sorts of things. These are the foods that help us glow, our skin glow, nice and pretty, okay? So that's also gonna be our vegetables as well. So we have carrots and we have broccoli and bell pepper, onion, lots of different vegetables, right, that we have. So half of our plate, we want to be filled with these fruits and vegetables to make sure our skin is glowing, making sure we're getting those vitamins and minerals that our body needs for all these little tiny actions that happen and reactions that happen within our body to keep us functioning at our peak. Okay, and then we're gonna dive into whole grains, how many whole grains you guys need to be active. Whole grains is going to be like whole grain bread, full corn tortillas or corn tortilla chips. This is gonna be whole grain pasta. And we'll talk a little bit about the differences of whole grain versus white bread. Okay, so refined grains are going to be any white grains and whatnot versus a whole grain. So we'll go into that and how much you need of that each day. And then we're also going to talk about our proteins. So proteins are the foods that help us grow big and strong, right? You've heard it since you were a little kid. So that's going to be a lot of our meat and animal products. But that's also going to be our nuts and our seeds and some of our dairy. So we're going to go into that as well. And then water. Of course, how much water you guys need to really be at your peak. So we're going to go ahead and dive into those. On your sheet, you will have a place to write down the recommended daily amount for you. So you can either do boys and girls or just do girls or boys, whatever you feel more comfortable identifying yourself with. Go ahead and choose that and fill that out so that we can show that you're paying attention, okay? Here we have our fruits. These are going to be things like bananas and limes and kiwis. Everybody has their favorites. So boys are going to need 2 cups of fruits every single day to get all the vitamins and minerals they need. And the girls? Well, the girls need 1.5 cups. It's a little bit less than a boy's. But I am pretty sure that you guys don't have a problem meeting your fruit intake. So what does a cup look like? Go ahead and look at your hand. 1 handful is a good way to measure 1 cup of fruit or vegetables. Let's move on to veggies. You guys need so many vegetables to make sure that you're getting all the phytonutrients that you need for your body to thrive. Our boys need 3 cups every single day, and the girls need 2.5 cups. Yep, just a little bit less for the females. So again, use that handful as your gauge. Instead of thinking you have to measure everything out, look at your handful. What can fit in there? how many strawberries, how much cucumbers, how much corn, and go ahead and use that as your guide. It may seem like 2.5 or 3 cups of veggies is a lot, but don't let it overwhelm you. Think about if you were making a side salad at home. You'd be using at least 2 to 3 handfuls of lettuce to start that salad off. Now, are you adding cucumbers, tomatoes, nuts, seeds? What sort of things are going into that salad? You're going to get to 2 cups or 3 cups pretty quickly. Okay, so let's take a look at our whole grains. These are our go foods, guys, and these are the foods that give us all the energy we need to do the fun things we love to do. This is also going to be our main source of energy for our brain. So we want to make sure we're giving it the best possible foods it can take. So we need to focus on not processed grains. So what is processed? That's going to be our white rice, our white bread, anything that's been refined like cereal, okay? That process strips all the nutrients, the folic acid that we need for our body to thrive. So what are the foods we do want? We want to focus on brown rice, barley, whole wheat pastas, whole wheat breads, all right, wild rice, whole wheat crackers. There's lots of options out there that are super delicious. Boys need 8 ounces every single day, while girls need 6 ounces every single day. So what does that look like, 8 ounces and 6 ounces? Here are a few examples for you guys to take a look at. So this whole diagram is showing 11 ounces total. So that would be if someone ate all of this in one day. But what you can see is that 1 slice of bread equals 1 ounce, or 1 cup of cooked rice equals 2. So for the most part, half a cup of cooked grains or pasta is going to equal 1 ounce, or oatmeal, right? Which is also the same as 1 slice of bread would equal 1 ounce. So that's just a little comparison here for you guys to see. Let's talk about our proteins. These are going to be our grow foods. These are all the foods that help us grow big and strong and put on muscle, while also helping our bones grow as well. So these are all of our proteins, and that could be an animal source or it could be a plant source. So yes, chicken, fish, beef, pork, okay, but also things like yogurt, some of our dairy, our cheese, plus our nuts and our seeds, and we can't forget the legume family. These are all of our beans. So this is pinto beans, black beans, refried beans, garbanzo beans, kidney beans, right? There's lots of different beans. Peas, sugar snap peas, all these things can help us grow big and strong. So let's take a look at what that 6.5 ounces that boys need and 5 ounces that girls need. Let's take a look at that. When we take a look at this diagram here, you can see that 3 ounces is just a small chicken breast. So when you're trying to hit your 6.5 or 5 ounces for your daily allotment that you need to grow and thrive, that's really not that much protein that you need. It's not going to be hard for you to reach that. I mean, look at this. An egg is 1 ounce, and then add that up what you've had through the day. I mean, you've also had cheese, maybe milk. Okay, you're going to hit that pretty easily. I want you guys also to be aware of how often you're hearing different products push an enormous amount of protein, right? Like protein shakes or protein bars, all of that. When you look at this and see how much you can get from just the foods you eat every day, you don't need these crazy protein shakes, these crazy protein bars. Just eating real food can get you all the nutrients that you need. When it comes to healthy fats, we want to think about the ways that we prepare our food, as well as certain food choices we're making, and we want to stick to unsaturated fats. You know that they're unsaturated when they're liquid at room temperature. So as much as I love butter as much as you do, we know that this is a saturated fat and will eventually could harden inside our arteries. So we want to make those choices of foods that are going to benefit our health instead of providing an extra blockage. So when it comes to picking healthy fats, we want to focus on things like olive oil and safflower oil and peanut oil or avocado oil or just avocados in general or peanuts in general, okay? These types of foods have those really good fats that help lubricate our joints, keep us full, while also providing a really good flavor to the foods that we're making. We have heard for years how important water is for us, not only to survive, but to excel.
And that is because 60% of the adult body is made up of water. So we have to be putting in this H2O to make sure that all the chemical processes, the billions and billions of processes that happen every day that you don't even have to think about, can happen as they're supposed to. When we are dehydrated, which means we don't have enough water, that's when we start feeling headaches come on, maybe we get hangry, okay? And that's when we start noticing that we're not able to focus as we should be able to. So making sure we get enough water is really crucial and the easiest step for you to take in feeling your overall best.
Okay, now that we have gone through this whole activity today, I want to do a little cool down with you guys to make sure you know and have heard what we've talked about today and are really grasping that information. So on your sheet, there's a cool down box at the bottom of the page, and there's a couple questions there I want you to answer. So the first question is going to be, what is an example of a healthy plate with all 5 food groups that you can make at home, or that you would like to make and eat at home? So you can go ahead and list that out there. And we want to make sure you're hitting all 5 food groups. I'll reiterate that again. Okay, we want you to have all 5 food groups in this meal. And then the second question is going to be, what would you like to learn about nutrition? This is a way that Farm to School can better gauge things that are going to be of the utmost importance to you guys. So this is where you can say anything you'd like to learn about nutrition. Sometimes I get asked about, healthy, easy snacks. Sometimes I get asked about cooking skills. Sometimes I get asked about food for fitness or sports, like excelling in exercise and sports nutrition and that sort of thing. So anything that you can think of that you'd like to learn about that has to do with nutrition, maybe like your skin, maybe your mental health and awareness, anything like that. You guys go ahead and put that in that little box there and write that down. And so that way your teacher can have a good gauge of what you guys would like to learn more about and can provide us that feedback as well, so I can create future lessons that focus on your needs entirely. I hope you guys have had a lot of fun with us today. I'm excited to when I can do this in person again, but until then, this will have to do. And keep experimenting with food, you guys. Your taste buds constantly change, constantly. You're growing new ones. Same reason why you don't like baby food now, if you did when you were little. And I just really want to encourage you to keep trying new foods. Sometimes you'll like it one way and not another way, so try cooking it a couple different ways before you completely rule it out. And yeah, keep cooking, keep learning, and drink some water, and we'll talk to you soon.